Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to ponder a simple but piercing truth. If you woke up tomorrow with no one beside you, no text on your phone, no message in your inbox, no dinner invitation, no plans to speak of, could you still smile? Could you still rise with a sense of purpose pounding in your chest like the beating of a war drum? Could you, even in the absence of others, feel whole? I will tell you this with fire in my voice and steel in my soul. The happiest, most powerful, most unshakable individual is the one who has learned how to walk alone without ever feeling lonely. It is a sacred truth, buried under the noise of the world, that happiness is not something you seek in another's eyes or in the sound of their laughter. No, it is something you ignite in the silent chambers of your own spirit. And once you light that fire, no darkness, no silence, no solitude can ever consume you again. The man or woman who has mastered solitude has mastered life. Because when you are alone, stripped of distractions, noise, and affirmation, when it is only you and your thoughts, then you are face to face with the raw material of greatness. Most people run from that. They fill their calendars, their social media feeds, their lives with noise because they fear the silence. But let me ask you, what do you think lies beyond that silence? Victory, revelation, freedom is because within the silence lies your truest self. And the one who meets that self learns to love that self and sculpts that self into something indestructible. That one becomes the architect of destiny. You see, we've been lied to. Society sells us the myth that happiness is tied to companionship, to relationships, to being constantly surrounded by others. We've been told that solitude equals sadness, that being alone means being broken, unwanted, or unworthy. But I am here to rip that illusion to shreds. For the truth is this: happiness begins where dependency ends. If your joy hinges on someone else's presence, you are a prisoner. If your peace is dependent on the validation of others, you are enslaved. But if you can dance in your room alone, if you can feast on your thoughts like a banquet, if you can walk through life without needing anyone to hold your hand, then you are free. And freedom is the first condition of happiness. But how do you become happy alone? You begin by shifting your beliefs. For belief is the root of transformation. What you believe about solitude will dictate how you experience it. If you see being alone as a punishment, then loneliness will torment you. But if you see it as an opportunity, an invitation from the universe to discover who you are and what you're capable of, then solitude becomes sacred. You must plant new beliefs in the soil of your mind. Beliefs like, I am enough. My company is valuable. Time with myself is a gift, not a curse. Water those beliefs with daily affirmations, nourish them with gratitude, and protect them from the weeds of self-doubt. You must become your own best friend. Talk to yourself not as a critic, but as a coach. Look in the mirror and speak to the person you see with reverence. There is no one else like you on the face of the earth. Your thoughts, your experiences, your imagination, they are uniquely yours. Why wouldn't you want to spend time with that? Too many people chase relationships because they are afraid to be with themselves. But a man who fears himself will never find peace, no matter how many lovers he takes. A woman who cannot stand her own presence will feel alone even in a crowd. But you must rise above that. You must become the kind of person you would want to spend the rest of your life with, because in truth, you already are. Build yourself, read voraciously, move your body, meditate in the quiet stillness of dawn, learn new skills, challenge yourself, expand your mind, discover what lights your soul on fire, and then do it with all the fury and passion of a life well lived. When you do that, you will find that you are never truly alone, because purpose will always walk beside you. Purpose is the secret companion of the fulfilled. It whispers to you in the morning and kisses your forehead at night. It is the driving force behind true happiness. And you don't find purpose by scrolling your phone or relying on others to tell you who you are. You find it in silence. You find it in reflection. You find it by asking, what can I give? What can I create? What can I become? Let me tell you this. Happiness is not a prize you earn by winning someone's affection. It is a state of being you create when you decide to live with intention, when you choose to see your time alone not as a void to fill, but as a space to grow, when you begin to cherish every moment of stillness as an arena for transformation. Have you ever heard the phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup? It's true, but most people try to anyway. They pour and pour, hoping that the act of giving will somehow replenish them. But it doesn't work like that. You must fill your own cup first, and that happens when you go inward, when you prioritize your well-being, when you become so deeply in love with life itself that you don't need anything outside of you to feel complete. This isn't selfishness, it's self-respect. Because when you become whole, you are finally able to give without expectation, to love without clinging, to walk away from what does not serve you without guilt. And that, my friend, is the highest form of power. Do not wait for someone to come along and validate your worth. Do not put your happiness in the hands of another, for they may drop it. Instead, forge it in the furnace of your own soul. Declare to yourself each morning, I am worthy, I am powerful, I am enough. Speak it until it becomes the drumbeat of your spirit. And as you grow stronger in your solitude, something miraculous will begin to happen. You will stop seeking people out of need and start attracting them out of abundance. You will no longer beg for attention. You will command respect. You will not chase love. You will radiate it. There is a light in you waiting to blaze. But it can only be lit in solitude, because the fire of self-awareness, the fire of resilience, the fire of purpose, it needs stillness to spark. It needs time alone. So don't fear your solitude. Revel in it. Dance with it. Use it as the training ground of your greatness. The greatest leaders, thinkers, and visionaries in history have all understood this. They all spent seasons of their lives alone, not as punishment, but as preparation. They knew that the time spent away from the world was time spent building the internal empire. And when they emerged, they shook the world. You have that same power within you, but you must choose it. You must decide right now that your happiness is yours and yours alone to create. You must reject the lie that you need someone else to complete you. You are not a puzzle missing pieces. You are the masterpiece. There will be moments when the silence feels heavy. There will be nights when the bed feels too big and the room too quiet. That's okay. Let yourself feel it, but don't let it break you. Instead, use it. Sit in that silence and ask yourself, what do I want from life? Who am I becoming? What legacy will I leave behind? These are the questions that shape kings and queens, not victims. Loneliness is a teacher. Solitude is a sculptor. One makes you reflect. The other molds you into something stronger, wiser, more fearless. If you dare to sit with yourself long enough, you will discover layers of brilliance you never knew existed. You will hear ideas whispering from the corners of your imagination. You will uncover passions that have been buried under years of distraction. And one day you will wake up and realize that the very thing you once feared, being alone, has become your greatest source of power. Because when you are no longer afraid to be alone, you are no longer afraid of anything. This is your time, your space, your moment to rise. So take that walk by yourself, not as a wanderer, but as a warrior. Go Go to that movie alone, not as a recluse, but as a revolutionary. Sit in that cafe with your journal, dream with your eyes wide open, speak kind words to yourself, and build a kind of inner life so rich, so vibrant, so magnetic, that even the world itself stops to take notice. Because the truth is, when you become happy alone, you become unstoppable. When you stop needing others to fill your cup, you become overflowing. When you light your own fire, you become a beacon, not just for yourself, but for everyone who crosses your path. And the world doesn't need more people desperate for connection. It needs more people who are rooted in themselves, whole within themselves, and strong enough to walk through the storm with joy in their hearts and fire in their eyes. So be that person. Decide now. Decide to become the rare individual who can sit in silence and feel surrounded by greatness. Because that greatness is not out there. It is already within you, waiting for you to claim it. And now that you've felt the stirring of truth within you, do not turn away. Do not retreat to the familiar cages of comfort. Stand firm, because the journey inward has only just begun, and what lies ahead is the making of your greatest self. You must now understand this. Happiness alone is not merely a state. It is a skill, a craft, a discipline. Just as the sculptor chisels stone, just as the blacksmith tempers steel, so too must you forge joy from solitude, not in fleeting moments of distraction or shallow comfort, but in the deep, rich labor of building a life so full, so intentional, so utterly yours, that it can no longer be shaken by circumstance. Most people have never tasted this kind of life. They nibble at existence. They are passive recipients of mood, of environment, of opinion. But not you, not now. You are here to master the art of self-command. You are here to step into dominion over your internal world. Because until you rule your inner life, you will always be a subject in someone else's kingdom. And what does mastery look like? It looks like this. Waking up without an alarm because your purpose calls louder than any clock. It looks like moving through your day with clarity because your vision is so sharp, nothing can blur it. It looks like laughing in an empty room because you have discovered joy within that no one else can ever give or take away. To walk this path, you must become a builder of rituals. You must fill your days with action that speaks of power, not passivity. Do not wait for motivation. It is a fickle wind. Create momentum with structure. Choose habits that elevate your energy, sharpen your focus, expand your spirit. Read the books that stretch your imagination. Write down your thoughts, not for the world, but for the refinement of your own mind. Learn, move, build, reflect. Each hour alone is sacred soil. Plant something in it. Do not allow idle time to become wasted time. Those minutes, those hours, they are life. They are opportunity in disguise. And you must train yourself to see them not as empty, but as full of potential. Potential to grow, to evolve, to create something of value. Something that will endure beyond this moment, beyond this season, beyond even your own lifetime. You see, happiness alone is not about doing nothing. It is not about escaping effort or avoiding the discomfort of growth. It is about standing tall in your autonomy. It is about directing your own energy like a conductor commands an orchestra. Decisively, passionately, with every fiber of your being engaged. There will be no room for self-pity on this journey, no room for waiting. Waiting is the habit of the powerless. You are not waiting, you are becoming. And as you become, you will find this remarkable truth. Self-respect multiplies in solitude. It grows like a mighty oak from the seed of self-discipline. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you choose growth over ease, every time you say no to what drains you and yes to what builds you, you deepen your roots. you become unshakable. So guard your space, guard your time, guard your mind. Not because you are afraid of the world, but because you are cultivating something priceless within. You are crafting a masterpiece of character. You are writing a story so rich in integrity, so fierce in intention, that one day others will ask how you did it. And you will answer, I chose to be alone long enough to meet the person I was always meant to be. But that person is not born in comfort. That person is born in the fire of choice, in the moments you choose to rise when no one is watching, in the times you keep going, even when doubt claws at your ankles, in the mornings you greet yourself in the mirror and declare, today I walk with purpose. Purpose. That is your fuel now, not pleasure, not entertainment, purpose. Because pleasure fades and entertainment distracts, but purpose endures. Purpose is what makes your solitude sing. It gives weight to your silence. It infuses your routines with a deeper meaning that electrifies your very being. And what is your purpose? It is not found in a single sentence or borrowed from another. It is discovered in doing, in striving, in pushing past comfort into conviction. Your purpose is the impact you decide to create. It is the greatness you commit to unlocking within yourself, for no other reason than because you can. Well, when you walk alone with purpose, you carry yourself differently. You stop comparing, you stop chasing, you start creating. And as you create, you connect not out of need, but out of power, not because you're seeking rescue, but because you have value to offer, because your cup is full, and it overflows not with desperation, but with contribution. This is the high ground of human living, and you are climbing it now. But beware of the voices that will try to pull you back, the voices that say it's selfish to focus on yourself, or you need someone to be complete. Let me tell you, nothing could be more dangerous than abandoning your potential for the comfort of conformity. Nothing more tragic than suppressing your light to keep others comfortable in their shadows. You owe it to yourself and to the world to become what you are capable of becoming. And that becoming often demands seasons of separation. Do not resist them. Embrace them. Lean into the discomfort. Let the silence break you open, and then rebuild yourself stronger, wiser, more aware. Because when you emerge, yes, when you emerge, you will do so with fire in your bones and clarity in your eyes. You will no longer be seduced by the shallow or distracted by the temporary. You will seek only what aligns with your vision, your values, your sacred inner peace. This is the kind of happiness that cannot be faked. It radiates from the inside out. It speaks before you even say a word. It draws others not to your appearance, but to your essence. Not to your charm, but to your conviction. And the world cannot resist that kind of energy. So I challenge you now. Do not just spend time alone. Invest it. Do not merely pass the hours. Own them. Build something so deep within yourself that even in silence, you hear purpose whispering through your veins. Let your solitude be a workshop of the soul. Let it refine your goals, clarify your standards. Strip away the lies you've been told about your worth. Let it test your strength, demand your discipline, shape your identity. Because when you've been through that crucible, no amount of noise, no crowd, no critic, no loss can shake you. You will walk through this world with a stillness that commands respect, a joy that does not depend, a presence that inspires, because you have tasted freedom, and once you've known it, nothing else will satisfy. Understand this, the world may never hand you happiness, it may never offer you peace, but it does offer you solitude. And in that space, in that holy silence, lies the doorway to everything you have ever sought. You need no permission to walk through it. Hello, no, walk it. And as you walk, yes, truly walk, not stumble, not drift, but stride with intention. Understand that every step forward in solitude is a declaration of sovereignty. It is a thunderous statement to the world and to yourself, I own my time, I own my thoughts, I own my destiny. This level of ownership is rare because it demands everything. It demands that you stop waiting for life to hand you joy and start creating it from raw materials. It demands that you break your addiction to external praise and learn to fuel yourself from within. It demands that you become the one who claps when you win, the one who comforts you when you fall, the one who says keep going when the path stretches long and lonely. But let me tell you the hidden truth. Those who dare to walk alone, to fight the internal battle of self-mastery, are the ones who ultimately lead the many, not by controlling them, but by showing what is possible. Because the world follows strength. The world is drawn to clarity. And clarity comes only when you remove the noise, when you strip away distraction and stand naked in front of your purpose. There, in that exposed and honest space, your life begins to take shape. Not the life they told you to live, not the life you inherited or copied, but the life you were born to build. And build you must. Solitude is not a holding cell, it is not a punishment, it is a construction site. While others are out chasing validation like moths drawn to flame, you will be pouring foundation. While others are spending their energy performing for approval, you will be stacking bricks of discipline, bricks of focus, bricks of purpose, brick by brick, day by day, until your life stands tall like a fortress, unshakable, imposing, unmistakably yours. But you must build with vision, not just with routine, not with blind repetition, but with bold, vivid vision. You must see your life not as it is, but as it could be, and then work like a sculptor, possessed to carve it into existence. And where does vision come from? It comes from silence. It comes when you dare to disconnect from the constant scroll of other people's lives and ask yourself, what do I want to build? Who do I want to become? Most never ask those questions. Most are too distracted by the noise of expectation, too numbed by the comfort of routine. But you are not most people. You are awake. You are aware, and now you must act. Let the silence teach you what the noise never could. Let your solitude sharpen you into someone who no longer conforms, no longer apologizes, no longer shrinks to fit into someone else's mold. Let it unlock your creativity, not the shallow kind that copies trends, but the kind that bends the world to your vision. And understand this, to be happy alone, you must release comparison. You must sever the toxic thread that ties your value to someone else's timeline. Your journey is your own. Your pace is your power. There's no clock ticking over your head, no scoreboard keeping track of how fast you're moving. There is only progress, only the forward motion that comes from consistency and courage. Every day you show up for yourself in solitude, you win. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you win. Every time you reject fear and embrace growth, even in silence, you win. This is how the foundation of a powerful life is laid. Not in one dramatic gesture, but in 1,000 quiet decisions. Decisions made in the still hours, the early mornings, the empty rooms. That's where strength is forged. Do not wait for company to feel alive. You are the spark. Light the fire within you and let that fire become a beacon that guides your path. When you become your own source of light, you are no longer dependent on anyone else's torch. And the darkness, it no longer scares you. You've learned how to see in it. You've learned how to move through it. You've learned that it was never darkness at all, just the backdrop against which your brilliance was meant to shine. And so I say to you, elevate your standards. Raise the level of conversation you have with yourself. Speak to yourself as a leader, as a champion, as a person of destiny. The words you whisper in solitude are the blueprints of your future. Never again will you curse your reflection. Never again will you doubt your worth. From this moment on, every thought, every belief, every action will be aligned with one sacred truth. I am the architect of my life. And as the architect, you do not beg for approval. You do not wait for permission. You do not compromise the blueprint because others don't see the vision. You build, you design, you execute, and you do it with joy, with pride, with an unshakable sense of direction that no wind can sway. Let others chase noise, let others fear the silence. You will thrive in it. You will use it. You will shape it into strength, into clarity, into legacy. Because true happiness alone is not passive contentment. It is not sitting idly waiting for the day to pass. It is not scrolling, binging, or numbing. True happiness alone is engaged living. It is knowing what you want and going after it with relentless passion, even if no one is watching. Because that's where greatness is born, in obscurity, in solitude, in the uncelebrated moments where you choose your future over your comfort again and again. So I say, take ownership of every second you are given. Don't just kill time, invest it. Don't just be alone, elevate in your aloneness. Make your solitude a sanctuary of vision, of power, of creation. You are not behind. You are not alone in the way they think. You are ahead. You are beyond. You are entering the elite territory of the self-led. And the self-led cannot be manipulated. They cannot be derailed. They cannot be bought, because their power comes not from outside, but from the unbreakable contract they've made with themselves to rise, to build, to become that goal. Stand taller, speak bolder, act with conviction. Let the world feel the vibration of someone who needs nothing but brings everything. You are no longer one of the many. You are the one who chose themselves, the one who discovered that the richest life begins the moment you realize you were never meant to be completed by others. You were meant to be awakened by yourself. Now that the fire within you is burning, do not dare let it dim. Not for anyone, not for anything, not for even a second of comfort that costs you your conviction, because you're not walking the path of the ordinary anymore. No, the ordinary is behind you now. The average has no grip on you. You've stepped into the domain of self-mastery, and that territory does not allow for mediocrity, delay, or doubt. It demands everything, and in return, it gives everything. And here's what it gives you first: inner leadership. What does it mean to lead yourself? It means you no longer ask the world, "What should I do?" But instead, you look in the mirror and declare, "Here's where I'm going." It means you stop relying on the external weather of life to determine your internal climate. You create your own weather. Sunshine in the storm, calm in the chaos, focus in the noise. Inner leadership is the highest currency of personal power. It is the foundation of a life not only well lived, but intentionally crafted. And it is forged in solitude. Because in solitude, you are not merely sitting in peace, you are practicing dominion. You are ruling your mind, your emotions, your time. You are building the muscle to choose what serves your future and eliminate what does not. When no one is watching and you still choose discipline, that is leadership. When no one applauds and you still pursue excellence, that is leadership. When you are alone and still filled with purpose, that is the highest form of leadership. This is how legends are born, not in front of crowds, but behind closed doors, where choices are made in silence that echo for generations. You must now see your solitude not as a retreat, but as a command post. It is the base from which all your victories will be launched. From here, you will strategize. From here, you will sharpen your vision. From here, you will rise decisively, deliberately, and unstoppably. But to rise, you must stop settling. Stop tolerating anything that insults your potential. Stop entertaining distractions that whisper to you with temporary comfort while robbing you of permanent greatness. Cut them off. You are no longer available for anything that shrinks you. You are no longer aligned with anything that confuses you. You are here for clarity, power, and purpose. To claim them, you must cultivate emotional independence, that rare, unmatched ability to feel whole, complete, and strong without needing to be validated, reassured, or rescued. Emotional independence is not coldness. It is not isolation. It is maturity. It is strength. It is love in its highest form, love for self, untainted by desperation. It is standing in your truth with such unwavering presence that people feel safer simply being near you. You do not chase when you are emotionally independent. You attract. You do not cling. You choose. You do not settle. You align. Because you are no longer trying to fill a void. You are overflowing. And that abundance came from one place. The time you dared to be alone, and in that space became whole. Now let me tell you something many never hear in their lifetime. You are enough, exactly as you are, and you can still demand more from yourself. Those two truths live in harmony. You can love yourself fully and still pursue your evolution relentlessly. In fact, that is the mark of someone who is awake. Someone who refuses to stagnate, even while appreciating the progress already made. So build yourself, upgrade yourself, not because you are broken, but because you are becoming. There is no ceiling for the self-led, no limit to the one who owns their solitude, like a sculptor owns their hammer. Each moment spent in reflection, in learning, in growth, it shapes you into a force no one saw coming. And let me speak directly to the fears still lingering in the corners of your mind. The fear that says, will I always be alone? The fear that whispers, what if I'm missing something? The fear that asks, what if I'm not enough without someone else? And let me answer those fears with truth. You will never be truly alone when you are at home with yourself. You will never miss out when you are present in your purpose. And you will never be not enough when you realize you are the source, not the seeker, of strength, joy, and love. Once you become whole, you no longer look for someone to complete you. You look for someone who complements the masterpiece you've already built. And until such a person enters, you are not waiting, you are winning. You are living. You are becoming so great in your own right that the presence of another becomes a choice, never a need. This is the difference between surviving and thriving, between wandering and rising, between living a life dictated by circumstance and designing a life driven by purpose. So from this moment forward, ask more of yourself, not from a place of shame, but from a place of reverence. Demand greatness, not perfection, but greatness. The kind of greatness that is earned day by day by showing up for yourself even when no one is watching. You must now become non-negotiable. Non-negotiable in your standards, in your focus, in your habits. The world does not give power to the wishful. It gives it to the intentional, the deliberate, the disciplined. And when your solitude becomes intentional, you unlock a secret power. Momentum. Momentum is not given. It is generated. And the most powerful way to generate it is to string together small daily wins that accumulate into unstoppable force. When you are alone, You have the space to win, to work, to reflect, to reset. There is no one pulling you off course, no noise to detour you, just you and the road ahead. But start now. Build a system, a rhythm, a structure that lifts you, that guides you, that demands your excellence. Wake up with purpose. Move with intention. Speak with clarity. Create with conviction. Let others drift through their days hoping for meaning. You will infuse your days with it. Let others seek escape. You will build reality. Let others wait to be chosen. You will choose yourself every single day. Because here is the final truth that separates the fulfilled from the frustrated. Those who are happy alone did not stumble into it. They earned it. They created it. They fought for it. They walked through the fire of self-doubt, through the desert of loneliness, through the forest of fear. And they came out the other side not just healed, but transformed, unshakable. So will you, because you are no longer a passive observer of life. You are no longer outsourcing your joy. You are no longer apologizing for your space, your vision, your standards. You are now in full command.
So stand up, look inward, lock into that fire that has always been there, waiting. Let it roar, let it light your path, because you are not just someone learning to be happy alone. You are someone learning to build an empire in the quiet.
And when it's done, when the foundation is set and the tower rises, they will ask, how did you do it?
And you will smile, not with arrogance, but with certainty, and say, I built it in the silence. I built it when no one was looking. I built it because I refused to wait for permission to become who I was born to be. And now that you've declared your power, it is time to elevate it, because power is not a destination. It is a momentum, a current, a living force that must be fed and directed, or else it withers into comfort and decay. You must understand, most people don't fear failure, they fear responsibility. The full, unfiltered responsibility of realizing that they are the architect of every brick in their life, that no one else is coming to fix it, to finish it, or to feel it for them, but not you. You are awake now. And with that awakening comes the sacred burden of creation. Creation of what? Creation of a mindset so strong that no rejection, no betrayal, no silence can pull you from your path. Creation of a standard so high that excuses break upon it like waves on rock. Creation of a daily life so aligned with your values that happiness isn't something you find, it's something you embody. And this is the secret the world won't tell you. Most people will never be truly happy alone. Not because they can't, but because they won't do the work. They won't confront the emptiness inside. They won't face the truth in the mirror. They'd rather mask their pain with noise, with people, with performance, than sit in the stillness and ask, what am I avoiding? But you are different. You do not flinch at truth. You do not flee from solitude. You confront it, you interrogate it, you mine it like gold. And in that act, you rise above the masses who remain entangled in emotional dependence, always chasing, always seeking, never creating. Let others live at the mercy of distraction. You will live by design. Let others base their value on attention. You will base yours on alignment. And this alignment This internal congruence is your compass. It guides your words, your habits, your decisions. It makes you unshakable. Because when your actions align with your vision, your soul breathes differently. You no longer need to explain yourself. You no longer need to justify your solitude. You are not escaping the world. That is the power of true solitude. It grants you dominion over self. And in that dominion, you develop what so many lack: emotional resilience, the ability to stand in discomfort and not collapse, the strength to feel fear, feel doubt, feel pressure, and still act, still create, still rise, not because it's easy, but because you've trained for it. And you trained not in front of crowds, but in the quiet, not when it was convenient, but when it was necessary. This is what separates warriors from wanderers. And a warrior of the spirit doesn't seek applause, they seek mastery. So master your mornings, master your habits, master your reactions. When life throws uncertainty, you respond with clarity. When others delay, you decide. When others fear being alone, you expand in it. Because happiness alone is not about isolation, it's about liberation. You are free from the false dependencies that once dictated your worth, free from the timelines others imposed on you, free from the masks you once wore to feel accepted. And now that you are free, it's time to elevate again. It's time to become a producer of life, not a consumer. When you consume, you feed on the world. When you produce, you feed the world. And the one who produces, who creates, who serves, who builds, does not fear being alone. They are too busy making their mark. So start producing. Produce ideas, produce growth, produce energy, not just for others, but for yourself. You owe yourself the best of you, not the leftovers, not the fragments. Too many wait until they are chosen. Too many wait until they are validated. You are not waiting. You are choosing yourself. You are validating yourself with every action, every choice, every breakthrough. You do not need a witness to evolve. You do not need an audience to build. You need only the decision to no longer betray your potential for the comfort of distraction. And once you make that decision, really make it, everything changes. You begin to set boundaries, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. You begin to walk away from what drains you, not out of pride, but out of reverence for your energy. You begin to move with standards that reflect who you're becoming, not what you've tolerated. And then something even more powerful happens. Momentum becomes identity. You're no longer pretending. You're no longer trying. You are, you embody, you own the identity of someone who is whole, driven, joyful, not because someone gave it to you, but because you built it in the fire of solitude. And now you are no longer just growing for yourself. You are growing for your future, for the mission that demands your best, for the people who will one day look to you, not as a follower, but as a leader, because you did the work when no one was watching. That work continues now, not with fanfare, not with noise, but with quiet decisions that scream through time. So simplify your life, streamline your mind, remove what is not essential. Stop carrying the weight of opinions that were never yours to hold. The more you strip away, the more you will uncover the brilliance that has always been buried under distraction. And that brilliance, it is not delicate. It is not fragile. It is steel. It is forged by trials, polished by pressure, strengthened in solitude. And when you begin to live from that place, you walk differently, you speak with purpose, you become magnetic, not by force, but by frequency. Others will feel your energy, your peace, your unshakable joy, and they will wonder how you did it. They'll ask for the secret, and the secret will always be the same. You stopped running. You stopped searching. You stopped shrinking. You sat in the silence and found power. You walked alone and found purpose. You chose yourself and found everything. Because at the end of it all, happiness alone is not about being without people. It's about no longer needing people to become yourself. It's about no longer outsourcing your wholeness. It's about becoming the person you once thought you'd find in someone else. And now you are that person. So keep walking, keep building, keep rising. You have not just learned to be happy alone, you have awakened to the truth. You are no longer waiting for a life to happen. You are becoming the life itself. So now the question is no longer, can I be happy alone? That question has died in the presence of your power. The real question, the only question that matters, is what will I do with this freedom I've found? Because freedom is not an escape. It is a responsibility. It is a summons. It is a call to arms. Your arms. It demands that you no longer live by chance, by drift, by delay. It demands that you rise and build now, not when you feel ready, not when it's perfect, not when the world applauds, but now, in this breath, in this moment. This is your life, not a rehearsal, not a draft, not a waiting room. This, right now. You've spent too long negotiating with fear, watering down your voice, compromising your standard just to be accepted by people who don't even accept themselves. That ends now. You've spent too long apologizing for your hunger, your ambition, your fire, dimming your brilliance just to make others comfortable in their shadows. That ends now. You've spent too long hesitating, wondering, hoping, shrinking, settling. That ends now. Because now you know you don't need anything outside of you to become everything within you. You are not half a person. You are not waiting to be rescued. You are not looking to be completed. You are already whole. You are already chosen. You are already called. If you needed a sign, this is it. This is the moment where you stop postponing your power and start living like the miracle you are. Not tomorrow, not when it feels easier, now. You walk out of this moment with a decision carved in your soul. I will never again abandon myself. I will never again settle for small. I will never again wait for the world to hand me joy. I will build it, I will live it, I will radiate it. Alone, if I must, whole either way. And if the road is long, good, you were built for distance. And if it's steep, even better. You were built to climb. And if no one claps, so what? You will clap for yourself. You will walk in your own light. You will move with such conviction that doubt doesn't survive in your presence. Let the world wonder what changed. Let them see you rise without explanation. Let them feel the weight of your silence and the fire in your movement. Because from this moment on, you are no longer hoping to become someone. You are being someone right now. Go. Be the proof that power comes from within. Be the force that doesn't flinch. Be the one who stood alone, smiled, and became unstoppable.